Welcome to a complete tutorial for beginners. If you are new to ArchiCAD or you have been using the software for a while, these fundamentals I'm going to share with you on how the software is being structured are essential for understanding how the software works for better results. All architects and designers want tools that will make their work delivery more efficient and productive. Hence, understanding the fundamentals will take you miles ahead of the industry. ArchiCAD is a BIM software. This means it uses intelligent objects and tools that are data-driven to assemble a building. It also supports open BIM setup for sharing and collaboration with other disciplines as well as clients for a common goal of the project. Without any further ado, let's get started. But before we start, make sure you subscribe and activate the notification bell for more videos that will help you improve your skills and be a better ArchiCAD user. Let's start this tutorial by looking at the user interface. ArchiCAD interface is divided into 4 parts. We have the top part, then the right part, the bottom part, and then the left part. The top part consists of a primary functions for file operations, your editing commands, your viewing commands, your design tools and commands, your documentation tools, option bars for project settings and work environment, the teamwork menu for project collaboration, the window for toolbars and palettes visibility, and then we have the info box here that will pop out upon activating the tools, as you can see. And then we have the tab bars for navigation of the current views that are open. And the right side of your interface is the pop-out project navigator. If you click on this tab here by the corner, and then this project navigator will pop out. If you want to have this permanently installed in your user interface, click on here and then say show navigator. So this is where you explore the views of your project in different viewpoints. As you can see, your stories, your sections, your elevations, details, your 3D perspective and axometric, your schedules, just like that. And these are structured in a tree format. And then it's divided into 4 parts. You have the project map, and then the view map where you can customly create new views, and then create some subfolders for management and organization of your project. And then we have the layout book, where you create your layout sheets based on the masters. Masters are host of the title block, as you can see. And then at the end, there is the publisher set, where you share your project in different formats. As you can see, there are different file formats here. The left side of the user interface is the toolbox, and it's divided into 4 parts. The first part here is the selection tools, your arrow tool, your mark tool. This will exploit during the course of the tutorial. And then we have the design tools. We have design tools that represent elements that assemble your components of your project. And then we have the viewpoints, where you can create new viewpoints, your sections, elevations, blah blah. And then we have documentation tools here that we can create any 2D information we want, your polylines, your lines, just like that. Let's move on by looking at the graphic screen or the canvas where the project will be assembled. By default, ArchiCAD will give us this markers, elevation markers in the screen. What I want us to select these markers and change the marker style. So, but before we can select, make sure under selection 2, the arrow tool is active, and then activate also the quick selection tab. For you to see the tab is active, you will see it's been highlighted with the blue color. As you can see, all these tabs are active. So from there, if you hover your cursor above the element, it will indicate the blue color. This means it is ready to be selected. You can click on it, and then from there, if you want to select the remaining markers, you have to shift and hold in your keyboard. Then you select or click all the remaining markers. The other selection method is to click away from your element, just like that, and then draw a rectangle or a box to enclose your elements you want to select, and then click to specify the second point, like that. Upon selection, you look at the info box. It will pop out and it will give us this settings dialog. The settings dialog is commonly for every tool and objects in ArchiCAD. The difference will be the icon here that will represent that particular tool that is active by that moment. So in this case, I want us to select this settings dialog. It will give us this settings dialog window for parameters and settings of each and every element or component or object in ArchiCAD. So what I want to change is the marker style. So I'm going to go to the marker symbol and text. Under marker style, I'll change to something common, something we used to, like this. And then from there, I want us to look at the story levels. Here, I want us to display. This means how you want this to display in your elevations. So you can decide to display and output or none, depending on your style of your architectural standards. And then again, this is the preview of how it will show as a level in your elevation. And then you have options to show in both sides of your elevation. In this case, I'll just show in one. And then you also have options to put dimensions or to place dimensions in your elevation horizontally according to its grids. So I'll also uncheck that. And then we have the pen sets or the colored pen, depending on what we want to do. So maybe in this case, I'll just leave it under 25 and then hit OK. So you have also the layer settings where you can assign a layer for this. And then let's hit OK. It will change to something common. At this stage of the tutorial, I want us to start placing elements that to assemble a project. I'll start first by walls. If you go to the design tool palettes and then activate the wall tool, the info box will give us the parameters and settings of how we want our wall to be. So we have the first part, which is the settings dialog, and then we have the layer settings here where we can assign a layer to our wall. But by default, ArchiCAD will assign layers depending on their function automatically. So at least that part, ArchiCAD will take care of it. We shouldn't have to worry about layers and all the like. Unless you are advanced, you have working on ArchiCAD for a while, you can now create your own layer systems on how you can manage your information within your project. The second part that I want us to look at is the geometry method on how we want to draw or place that wall. The first one, it has, if you click on this arrow, it has options there. The first option is to draw a straight wall. If you click on it, it means you specify the first point, and then you specify the second point to complete a wall. And then the second part, you now can specify the first point, and then the second point, you can continuously draw different walls, just like that. And then the third one is by using a rectangular method to place your wall, by specifying the first point and then draw a rectangle like that. Oh, sorry. A rectangle like that, and then specify the second point to complete your walls. The last one is a rotated rectangle. In this case, you first have to indicate the angle of which you want your wall to be. So I will specify the first point on the screen, then this line will represent the angle on which the wall will be inclined. So in this case, I'll just click here, and then now start drawing a rectangle like though, and then specify the second point like that. Perfect. But this is just the basics. We have also this part where we can draw a circle or curved walls. We have also variation of that or options of that. So the first one, you specify the center of the arc first, and then you indicate the radius of the arc you want to draw. As you can see, the tracker will give you the information or the distance on which you are moving your cursor. You can key in information or a distance if you want, maybe say 2.5 like so, and then hit enter. From there you draw your arc like that, and then you specify where the arc will end, just like that. The second one, click on the second one, and then also you specify the center, and then you indicate the radius, just like that. In this case, I'll say 3 meters. 3 meters radius, and then it will give you the circle to start your arc, maybe like so, just like that. So the last one, I'll leave it to exploit. Now we know how to place a wall, but what I want you to understand is a wall is a composition of materials. What will be key is how you represent those materials visually and graphically. So if you go to options at the top of the interface, under element attributes, you have your line types, your pens and color tables, your fill types, surfaces, building materials, composite, and profiles. These are ingredients of a composition of a wall. So if you click on composite, let's set up a new composition for our walls. So if you click on new to create a new one, and then give it a name, I'll say 230 mm cavity masonry cavity wall, and then I'll say new. Click on new instead of duplicate. You can duplicate the existing one if you want to take advantage of that and edit that, then hit OK. From here it will give you this window. We have this element, which is our skin. There are different skin you can set here depending on the number. I don't know how many it will accept skins, but I know as many as you can have a lot of skins here. So to insert a new skin, you say insert a skin. So in our case here, we will need 3 skins, both the outside and the inside of the wall, and then the cavity itself. I'll have 3 skins, and then I'll change the materials to, this one will remain at brick, and then this one also remain of the brick. So this I'll change it to something like insulation. I don't know, yeah, insulation. Perfect. And then here is the sizes of our skins. So this I'll say 115. I'll change also this one to 115. And then the cavity will remain at 100, or maybe just 50. Like so, 50. Perfect. And then the composite, they work with different tools: walls, slabs, roofs, and shell. But in this case, this is a cavity wall. I want us to activate only the wall. I'm going to use it using a wall tool. So I'll hit OK. But before you hit OK, there are also 2D or graphic representation of this composition. So if you look at here, this is the preview on how this will look on your floor plans and your sections, on your drawings basically. So if you want to change the thickness or the pen weight of this, you can change it here under line type. So imagine this, the outside one of the insulation fiber, maybe I'll have it a lighter weight, just like that. And then I'll have also this, yeah, this two will be, the hedge of this will be also this, and then I'll just like that. Now you can have a visual or a graphic representation here, and then you have also the visual representation here of the surfaces. What I'll do, I'll hit OK, and then I'm going to assign that composite to this wall. I'll click on it, and then under the structure here, so make sure you are under composites. So we've got different types of structures. We've got basic, and then composites, then the complex structure. So I'll activate the composite, and then if you click on the list, you should find a newly created composite. No, I don't see it. I don't know why it's not showing. I'm seeing different stuff here. But if you go again to elements, composites, let's check it from here. It didn't add up. I don't know why it didn't add up. Okay, let's do it again. Create new. Oh, this is the one we created. Let's rename it. Rename it to 230 mm Mansory cavity wall. Sorry for the spelling. And then let's select this to apply the newly created composite. Perfect. This is how it will appear. But then if you are not happy with the settings of your hatching and all the likes and then building material, but before we go there, let's appreciate it on 3D. Click on the 3D window, and then you can fit in window here and the bottom of your interface. Fit in window. If you hit O on your keyboard, you are activating the orbit tool, or you can just use orbit here. Hit O to activate orbit, and then you can orbit and see your composite or your cavity tool. So if you want this to be plastered on both sides, you can also add another skin of a plaster, another skin of a plaster on both sides. So to do that, you can also edit it on this window by selecting it and then right click it, then go to edit composite or profile, just like that. And then from here, what we are going to do, we're going to add two skins for both side plaster. Insert, and then I will change this to a plaster material, plaster gypsum, and then change the size or the thickness of the skin to 12 mm to represent a plaster. The line type, yes, will be color 2. Then I'll do the same. Insert another skin. I will drag this to the other side of the wall by clicking on these two arrows like that. Click on hold, then just drag like that to the other side of a wall, and then perfect. Now you have the outside top solid line will be color 2, as in color 2, so that I remain with this. I'm happy now with all the skin, and then hit OK to add your plaster. Click on the O to activate orbit, and then click on the left side of your mouse and hold by just dragging like that. Perfect. If you go back to your ground floor, you can use the project navigator to go back to the floor plan under stories and then click on the ground floor, or you can just take advantage of the tab bar and click on it to go back here. So this is how it will be represented on the drawings, your sections, your elevations, and your plans. So if you want to edit these materials to suit your standard, for example your hatching and all the like, what you're going to do, I'll select this and then go to options. Let's go back to element attributes, but this time around we are going to, like I said, these are ingredients. This time around I'm going to go to fields, field type. But before we do that, we need to identify what kind of field is this one, the field type that is already used here. To do that, you go back to element attributes and then under building materials. So this is the field that is being activated for this type of material, which is a brick. This is the material list. We've used the brick, and then all the materials are being ticked, because upon selection and then bring this window to pick all the materials that are selected on the screen. So we have our plaster gypsum, and then we have this, the insulation material. And then what I want us to change the scaling of our text, of our hedge, sorry. So by doing that, you can adjust the scale on the bottom of your interface. If you change the scale to 1:50, it will change the hedge scale also. But if you want to adjust the hedge scale itself, you have to select it and then go to element attributes again under field types. Now we know the name of that field is being used on our composition. So I will click on it, click on the list here of the field types, and then let's check for common brick, which is this one. And then we're going to adjust its spacing. So the spacing here, as you can see, this yellowish hedge. So I'm going to change this to maybe 0.9. Do the same to this one, 0.9. Just like that. And then hit OK. Automatically it will adjust the hedge spacing or the hedge scale. And then if you want to change also the pen color, the line weight of your hatching, also you go back to select it and then go back to element attributes under materials, under building materials. We're going to change the hatching color to something like pen 2, just like that, and then hit OK. Automatically it will change. And then also let's do the same to our our installation material, right click, select, and then go back to elements, attributes, building materials, and then in this case we're going to select the installation material. Let's change this to color 2, then hit OK. Perfect. This is how you can edit your composition. Now we've created a composite for our wall. It will be easier for us to place or punch in doors and windows or openings in this wall. But just for the sake of understanding, let's just go to design tools and then pick a door. Also under the info box, this information, which is basically the parameters of the doors will pop out. But if you click on the dialog settings, you have different types of doors under the ArchiCAD library, depending on what you want. And you can also customize these doors based on your standards. So if you go to the hinge door settings, this is where you find your door leaf. And then if you click on the door leaf here, then these are different types of door leaf that comes with the template. But you can also create your own door leaf under this custom door leaf and then load your own type. You can also key in the handle. There are different types of handles. You can also use your custom handles, of which I'm emphasizing on customs because some of these components that comes with default ArchiCAD library or default ArchiCAD template are just standards. And you want to have something that to address the requirements of the project or your client, for an example. So in most cases you find yourself here to create custom new object that to add up to your template. So yeah, that's basically that. So you can just hover on top of your wall, this graphic option for the placement of your will pop out, and then if you click on and then you can now choose where to place your door and then how you should open, just like that. These arrows, they are just there to indicate or to guide you on how you can move and switch up your door before even finishing the placement. And then I can say on this direction, just like that. But the most important part that I wanted us to understand on the wall composition is to report on this. So after designing a project, so the most important stage of your design is the documentation part, where you need to share information for construction purposes or with the rest of the team members that are involved in the project. So something like documentation is important. Reporting of this is important. So if you look at our wall, let me just get rid of this door. To get rid of the door or to delete, you just select component and then you just hit on the delete on the keyboard. So what I wanted to show you here is under the documentation part. If you click on the documentation part, there is this label 2. Let's activate that label 2. And then if you click on this dialog settings, and then under the type and preview, I want us to, these are the list of tools that you can use to label or to document your project. You have this auto text where you can key in manually information to label. For example, let's click on it and then let's click that. You can now manually do it. Double click on the, if you double click on the text, you can key in your specifications like that. Okay, but this is more like manual or traditional methods of doing architecture projects. But I want us to understand the fundamentals of using BIM or building information in ArchiCAD. Instead of typing or manually create specifications, you rather draw or extract information from a component or element because like I said in the introduction of this video, ArchiCAD uses intelligent objects and tools that are data driven. So there is a data that we can extract in this composition. So what I'll do is that I'll go back to the label tool settings. So if you want to repeat the same the last operation, you will just hit on W on the keyboard. It will activate the last tool operation you've experienced. So let's click on the settings, and then if we check here, there are different types of labels. So what I want us to look at is the skill list label. Click on it, and then under the symbol label settings, this is a criteria on how we want us to extract data from the composition. So we have the show header text, which is basically the element ID. In this case, I'll say building material composition profile. I'll say the element ID. Show thicknesses, show skin, name of building material, show units, also depending on your preferences, just like that. Show label text order, show skin name last or show skin name first. Then that's okay. So if you click on this, it will give you this information about your composition. And this is exact, let's delete that one, the first one. And then this is exactly what we've been constructing of this composition. Here we have, the first one is the ID of this wall. So if you have many walls, so each and every wall will have its own unique ID. So in this case, this SW-031 is the ID of this wall. I'll show you also how to list the IDs of the elements in the next video. So as you can see, it gives us all the information about the plaster, even dimensions, about the composition, even measurements of the skins on how we've constructed this. So for example, this is a useful information for the guy who's going to maybe do the quantities of this or brickwork, or the guy who's going to do the construction of this brickwork. He will know everything about this wall. That's basically what I wanted us to share. But if you ArchiCAD works like this. For example, we have this, and these materials comes with a default template of ArchiCAD. But if you want something that to suit with your region, for example, your plaster, maybe you are using cement blah blah plaster. Yeah, your brickwork also are this bent bricks, and maybe different types of bricks that are available out there. So maybe you want to be specific with the materials here. So what we can do, you select this, and then let's go back to the options or element attributes, then building materials. Here, all the materials are being selected. First is the brick, like I said before, and then the insulation, and then blah blah. What we can do, we can rename this to suit our specifications. For example, the brickwork, under the name here, we'll say according to my standard in our region here. So we have this SABC standards how do you spell bent bricks? Bent bricks like that. And then the installation material, I'll say maybe I'll use something else different. I'll say installation. Well, for this one, let me just leave it there. Then the Egyptian, I'll say cement plaster. And then you can also indicate the mix ratio here, just like that, depending on your standards that side. Then hit OK. So everything will be adjusted to automatically adjusted to the additions that we just made, of which I see it as the fundamentals that we need to really understand when we are dealing with ArchiCAD objects. And they are not just objects for the sake of extracting 2D information like elevations, sections, and other likes. This is very, very important, guys, for the documentation of your project. If you want to really define your project, the value will be based on this type of information. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I would like to continue next time with this and give us a reaction to suggest content for the next video. Check the link below if you want to jumpstart your drawing quality and deliver project efficiently with this great template of ArchiCAD ever published. Thank you.